my existence.
Do you remember that little town we passed through? The one we ate in? It's like... Florida?
So it does something like that.
Man, you know what? It is kind of creepy watching myself live from my preview window.
Why?
I'm going to close that down. That's starting to freak me out. Okay. So that window stays open. That is my window. And this does not need to be here. That can go away. And that is player window. Player window. Hoorah.
Huh?
It sounds like Roro so bad.
Well, I mean, if ever there was a time to be Roro, say now's pretty well it.
Every waking moment.
Oh God, no.
I don't enjoy living with Roro.
I'm sure. I'm sure that it comes with its own challenges. There we go. All right, now my big preview. That is always so weird when you log onto your own channel trying to watch it. It still gives you an ad. You don't have ad-free viewing on your own channel. What even?
Are you live streaming right now?
Yes.
Oh.
And so saying, hello and welcome. Yeah. Not much of a recap, except for welcome to Symaxis and the port of Elkrin. You've hit dry land finally, and yeah, the drift is undergoing its repairs, and following Scotty's visions for what she remembers, is going to be heading her happy little tush north into the desert, with Gil and Roro deciding to tag along, make sure she doesn't. I don't know. There's all kinds of chicanery I'm sure she can get involved in. But yeah, we had a little bit of a meeting in the interim where this course of action was lightly discussed, and to which Nicole says that well, he wants to earn himself a little bit of money because he can't afford to keep the boat here, or he can't afford to keep the boat in port. So he's also a little reminiscent to, leave his boat. So with that, he's taking along both Tallow and Silsan, and the three of them are going to presumably charter some sailors and hang around the area, make some money for themselves, and wait in the area for when and if you guys need a boat. Last we left off, the three of you were walking through town after having a bit of a meal, or having a couple of drinks apparently. So, I'm gonna pop us back over to that map, and yeah, fun times.
So, we agreed that it was kind of evening-ish, or heading for evening?
Yes, it is. It is in the evening currently.
Okay, so...
Are there bridges connecting these?
There are
Swim.
not.
Oh. Swim, bitch.
There are little ferries.
Oh.
Okay, so are we standing where the I want to say it was sandbox, but I don't think that's right.
Sandbar.
Sandbar. So we're like where the sandbar is, and then where are they staying?
They are staying right up here, right off the park, a place called the, I believe it was called the North Shore? I don't have my note directly in front of me. Because I come prepared.
When
When? I don't know. The south.
Everybody
The
hide.
south. It's the South Sea Inn.
oh, is it?
Yeah.
Sounds beautiful.
So the three of you were walking along.
And there was a question asked in intermission that hadn't been answered.
Refresh my memory.
Refresh it. Hi, Patrick. I mean, Fluffy, my bad.
Omar.
So the question was, Scotty was asking about praying to get clarification.
Yes.
And Rose said, please or thank you might work.
I mean, if you're petitioning directly, maybe. I mean, we don't even know who it is who's got eyes on you, to be honest. I don't think we've addressed that elephant.
The fact that we don't know where these visions are coming from.
Well, I think at the very least we are assuming they're from a divine source. I mean, some deific presence has probably touched in on you. I mean, that seems reasonable considering, the visions. That would be my guess anyway. But the thing is, we don't know which one.
Do we need to find that out?
I mean, it'd probably be helpful, but
Is there a temple?
Why am I the to be fair, I haven't been this far. I haven't been to this this part of the world before. So I don't know. Normally I was just tooling around to Scandrin and occasionally going back to the Grasp.
Well, we really need to get ourselves ready to part in the first place, so maybe this is we're on the list of things to worry about.
What'd you say about the priority list?
I said maybe this is lower on the list of things to worry about.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm sure there's got to be something around here.
Maybe we can ask the nice townspeople.
Asking around is a good idea. Maybe they could point us to a temple.
Couldn't hurt.
Or a shopping center.
Well, I suppose both of those are valid.
Yeah, I mean, what are our supplies looking like here?
Roro, what is your supply looking like?
That's a funny question. We have lots of water
Not on the boat. Right now.
right
If you
now.
had to leave the city right now, what do your supplies look like?
I have some nice clothes.
Well, you're fabulously dressed, so when you starve to death, they'll know that you were of noble descent.
And that's the goal. Glad you got this, Scotty.
Alright, well, I know my supplies are looking like about nothing, so
Yeah, Gil, from having disembarked from the boat, he's got he's got his dwome hooked on his back, and he's got was essentially a messenger's bag, kind of draped over his shoulders, that has a water skin hanging off it.
we're all about in the same boat?
Well, no, if we were all in a boat, we wouldn't be having this problem.
Well, okay, so nothing's kind of out of the I should go look first.
Well, I got 20 gold on hand. That'll get us something. Roro, what you got? Anything?
I've got 5 gold.
Alright, so we've got 25 gold to work with.
And 2 platinums.
So 45. That's not bad.
And 14 copper.
Less useful, but every little bit right now, I guess. So, we're going to need food unless we can really just stick to the rivers. And I don't know how far these go.
Well, I mean, the vision lead through the desert can't do that.
Okay, we can't count on... Alright, we can't count on catching fresh food. I don't imagine either of you are hunters at all.
I'm sure I could.
Scotty just gives him this look.
Yeah, I don't trust that either.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I can suggest them to stop and make them really slow.
Alright. Okay, so food. Is that what we're focusing on before we crash out?
Getting supplies?
Yeah, I'm guessing we're heading out first light, or what's the plan past this?
Well, I was hoping to have a bit more direction before we headed out. And do you not think it's a good idea to stay here for a bit? Try to work?
I mean, are we here to be employed, or are we here to get on with a task?
You have a point.
We have to work?
Okay, so working.
Okay, all right. Now this is looking a little more appealing to me.
What?
I almost want to see Roro have to get his hands dirty with something. That isn't him being punished.
How many hours would that give me towards my monk training?
Probably nothing.
You know what? Fuck you.
I don't know. It depends on what kind of work you find. I mean, if there's a circus in town, maybe you can do something.
You must ask the citizens. Maybe they know a circus in town.
Okay.
Scotty can work the corner.
Blushes bright purple.
I'm gonna have to put a hard no on that one.
How hard of a no is it?
I don't know. How thick's your skull?
Probably about as thick as you. Wow.
Scotty's just gonna turn around and walk the other way. He's tired of this conversation.
I'm gonna go ahead and guess that was sarcastic. Alright. Well, no.
Always.
What are we... Are we getting supplies to go, or are we just gonna crash out for the night and go from... and see what happens tomorrow?
I think we should see what kind of supplies we can get now, and the earlier we get things done now, the earlier we can get out tomorrow.
Well, Scotty's favor is more in, well, I guess finding supplies now and being prepared is,
In case we have to up and dash.
yeah.
Thanks for that little bit of paranoia, Roro, by the way.
What?
Alright, supplies then. Let's see. Go ahead and give me just a general charisma checks. If you're going to be asking the townsfolk of not a save.
Oh, shit. Bitch, you be complaining.
Wow, Scotty beat you. That is terrible.
I demand a reroll.
Scotty,
The people with a -1 and a 0.
And I have 4 plus 1. What the hell?
Where's that +1 coming from?
Your mom.
I mean, she is delightful, but I don't understand where the 1 is. I mean, it doesn't matter, but
Love your mom.
my mom is amazing.
I know. I love her. I think maybe the plus, well, it's just because Bro was so damn fast.
Thank you, Fluffy. That would make sense.
Oh. Jack of all trades, I see.
That would make a hell of a lot of sense. Weird that they would do it like that, but okay. Whatever works for it. So,
So I get a reroll?
no, you don't. But
No.
to be fair, the three of you working in concert with one another do get you do kind of spread out loosely, asking your questions about essentially it's touristy questions. You know, hey, we're new here, we just rolled in. What even is this place? Kind of deal.
Like, are the fairies, like, really nice and they carry you to the other side? Or do they talk a lot of smack and then they're going to possibly drop you?
It depends on if you mouth off to them. They could throw you into the water. I've seen it happen.
Oh.
Apparently.
So-
I don't know.
Be nice to the fairies.
Are you talking about the ferrymen or actual fairies? Because those little creeps will mess you up.
Oh.
They took my daughter away.
What?
She just kind of looks off, wide-eyed, head kind of rattling a little bit. She seems like she might be a little addled, and she starts kind of wandering off.
Okay. But thank you. Bye.
So what sort of things are you attempting to learn? Like, I'm guessing stores? I mean, what places are you trying to learn about in here?
So it was decided that they were just going to get supplies and head out in the morning?
Supplies, and then decide after the fact. Once we know, I think it's come to, if we know where we're going to be going, it's the kind of deal of like, we're going to be prepared to leave, and then we'll decide what we do past that.
Okay, so then Scotty's just asking where, I guess, the general store would be. And I guess she would be asking about Temple Grower brought.
Why is that? Okay. And this is... Okay, so hit me with that one more time.
She was asking for the general store as well as a shrine or temple.
Okay. So you guys are, whatever. So there is a shrine over here near the docks, and they...
Can you ping that again, please?
Vras here.
Okay.
And the shrine is to an individual called Mazirin.
Are you adding labels as we go to them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, those weren't there before, were they?
No, I'm... So yes, down near the docks there is a shrine area that is basically devoted specifically to Mazirin's water aspect, as you're being told, and used for safe travels in the seas. No, not a point. What's that?
Rara has questions.
Okay. What's your question?
He's going to be asking people if they've seen any suspicious guard-like men, and tell them about the colors and the symbols and crap.
Suspicious like how?
What'd you say?
Suspicious like how?
Like they're not of your own people, and they stomp around. They're probably kind of rude.
Well, we get we get folk coming going from Triander about ever so often. I don't see them have uniforms per se, but I don't know. It's not many people have been coming in or going for a little while. Sorry.
I see. I
So,
have more questions.
okay, go with your questions.
It's gone.
So we had a general store and a shrine asked about. Anything else?
Well, no, because from what Spotty remembers, they got most everything from the general store when they were with the hottie. But maybe so she's got that melted piece of metal stuff.
Oh.
Could she like go to like a blacksmith or a metal worker of some sort and see if they'd want to buy it from her?
Big chunk of various metals.
That was once money and is now not.
I mean, you could always take it to a blacksmith and see if they would do something. Because you guys did pretty well on your touristy checks.
Is there going to be like a magical item store in the general store area?
You're not entirely sure. If you're asking about, I'm guessing you're asking about magical items of just where to purchase them.
No, I have that blue orb from the Cobalt Cave that I took. And I'm kind of curious about if it actually is something.
You would need to find someone with the power to either detect magic, or cast an identify spell. Usually, one or both of those.
Gotta use the able.
Oh, of course. I mean, I have dispel magic. That's cool.
Great. If it's magical, you can suppress its power for a while.
Yay.
Be worth it.
Okay. I wasn't sure if I could just take it in somewhere and hope for the best.
I mean, you can. Asking around for people who might be able to appraise magic items.
Okay, I was going to ask that question.
Yeah, I mean, sure. We've got oh god. They for magical items or someone who is knowledgeable in magic, they direct you to the northwestern aisle. Kind of at the tip is the Lighthouse Library.
Sounds fancy. All the way over there. Cool.
All the way over there.
Maybe the fairies can carry me over there.
Watch your mouth.
You are the fairies.
I'll just tell them that they're pretty and they're doing a great job.
They'll steal your babies.
We don't have any of those.
I am the baby.
Are you my sister?
Just run away, Roro.
Oh, runs away.
All right. So, you've got a few locations. You have some answers there, and in fact. One second. Okay, so that's... So what do you suggest there? Are you going to give me a suggestion? No, you're just going to tell me it's wrong? Well, screw you. There we go.
The Sloosh Apothecary.
The Sluice.
Sloosh Apothecary.
Gil will come back, and part of what he discovered was, or asked around, that there is an apothecist in the area. He remembers hearing you mention that offhand. So, there you go.
Okay.
So where are you off to now?
What is an apothecary?
It's what Scotty's profession is.
Alchemist.
Oh, that bitch.
Yeah, an apothecary is a place where old-timey medicines and basically old-timey chemistry.
Is there a music store?
Are you looking for, like, places to buy instruments, or...
A microphone to make my voice louder for the whole ship to hear me at the same time.
I mean, around the docks where they've got ship parts, they do have kind of like a bellowing cone. Basically kind of like a director's cone.
Roro is a bellowing cone.
He is. He really is.
Right where it hurts.
You say your pride hurts?
Right where it hurts.
Yeah, well... We're not saying it's a bad thing, necessarily, but, yeah, you are kind of, a loud individual.
That thing. Maybe Roro just has hearing issues, like someone who plays Roro.
I don't know. You never know. So, where are you off to?
Roro, where are we off to?
Do we want to stick together or do we want to separate for a little while?
Well, it doesn't seem too dangerous. Ours could cover more ground.
Well, where's the first place you'd like to go?
Are we letting Roro go off unattended?
That is a bad idea.
I mean, if we ever wanted to know where the jail was, I'm sure that'll...
I will find it for you then.
I'm sure we'll have to bust you out of it.
That'd be fun.
Anyway, where are we going?
Okay, so the general store would be an important stop, but I'd also to uh, make a quick go to that. That's to be some distance.
You
Again,
were
Roro.
you were breaking up a lot there. I didn't hear what you said.
Um, the general store would be an important stop, but I want to head over to the metalworks, and that's a bit out of the way. So, Ro's suggestion to split up really isn't that bad of an idea.
All right. Well, I can go and start looking into getting us some supplies.
I really want to go to the Lighthouse Library.
All right. So, this being probably the worst idea we've had today. All right. What? Take hour and a half, and meet back up at the tavern, or at the inn.
That's probably the best way this idea can go.
All
Do
right.
we gather hands in the middle and go raw before we go? Or
Not a chance.
No, that's not happening.
wow. You know, I bet if like Sil and Tal over here, they would do it.
Well, Roro, you could return to the boat.
Bye.
I'm not sure if he's joking or not.
We're wasting
Yes.
time.
Yeah, alright. Hour and a half, meet back at the South Sea, and... yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, bye, Roro. Alright, hey, Scotty. Just in
Yeah?
case you need something, here. He'll reach into his bag and just kind of plop five gold in your hand.
Thanks.
Yeah, just in case you need some cash to grease a palm or whatever.
Well, I'm not do that. Thank you
Yeah,
for your
well,
advice.
hopefully, well, you never know what you'll find.
True.
All right, well, good luck.
You as well.
He'll kind of watch to see Roro traipsing off fabulously,
Thank you.
skipping almost, I'm sure.
Like the fucking Wizard of Oz, bitch.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, I'm not even going to entertain that. That we'll let the fan artists go on that one there. But yeah, Roro's heading off that way. Gil lets you go wandering off with a quick peck, and he's off to go and buy you supplies.
Such a good daddy doing all the work for us.
You bitches just don't want to do the shopping, is all, I'm sure.
And Scotty will stumble off bright red. Or, sorry.
She's surpassed purple. She's now the new red.
She has surpassed normal blush. She has gone to maximum blush. She now has human blood tone. That is pretty bad.
Scotty is anime girl.
She really kind of is.
Off to the library.
Oh,
are you-
right.
Start then?
Sure, we can have him start.
So much love. So the fairies are going to carry me across the little river here.
The ferryman. Yes, there's essentially you have directed to you a little pier, essentially, dotted throughout the city. I can't really show you the details just on my little back map here, but We do have them dotted around, and they're little like river skiffs. They're like almost like Huck Finn style, just planks of wood put together, flat top, guy with like an oar, just kind of pushing you around the bay area.
This looks
Uh,
unsafe.
they're pretty well stable. It's basically like an upturned like box cap, a box lid, essentially. uh, yeah, kind of a rural version. Think kind of like the gondolas in Venice, but just more like Huck Finn style. Not nearly as elegant, but it's functional. And you will be taken. What's that?
Roro hesitantly get in.
It seems pretty stable. I mean, just with the wide amount of area that this square base has, it seems pretty stable. So you're ferried off to the northwest aisle, where you can head your way to the. Oh God! Oh my God! Damn it, Jasper! Yes, it is a redneck gondola. Essentially a redneck gondola. That's terrible. Welcome to the audience participation part of the night. So yes, you make your way to the lighthouse library. It looks kind of like a large. It is a lighthouse, but it definitely has the kind of slight air and accoutrement of what you would think of like a classic wizard's tower would kind of look like. But it does seem to have a functional lighthouse towering above.
He goes in.
It is a gated area, and it's closed and has a guard posted.
That's rude.
Help you.
Roro versus guard. This is terrible.
This is pretty terrible.
Hello. Guard-like person.
Can I help you?
Yes, I am in search. Oh, words. I am searching for information about a magical item. I was told to come here. You can let me in now.
You can come back when it's open.
No! It's open now.
No, it's not.
Well,
The wizard's working right now.
I mean...
You can come back in the morning when it's open.
That's the problem, is I'm kind of here now.
And that's the problem. The lighthouse library is kind of closed right now.
But can you actually close a lighthouse?
Yes, when the wizard's working.
I'm sure if the wizard knew who I was, he would definitely come down.
He kind of puts a little bit more of his weight on this halberd that he's got posted up here. And who are you?
Roro Kelro, you are welcome.
Never heard of you.
Oh.
So you know what?
Often?
You can come back in the morning. I'll tell you that. How about that?
But that's the problem. Is I'm not gonna be here in the morning, and I really need answers now. Why don't I just talk to the wizard? He will know.
He's working right now. You're free to come back in the morning, sir. You can see that he's starting to grow impatient with you.
Uh-huh. That's the problem?
Look, it seems like you're full of problems. You might want to get those worked out before you come and see the wizard.
Oh, you remind me of someone. It's okay. We can work through this.
In the morning, when the library's open.
It could be open now.
It is not.
You know, it could be. Because I'm here now.
Look, you're gonna want to move on now, alright? Just come back in the morning when I'm not here and I don't have to deal with you.
My God. Maybe if you just kind of turned around for a minute, you won't see me.
It's kind of my job to hold security here, and if you kind of got in, I'd have to kick your ass and throw you in the brig.
Oh, you see, my shipmate Gil, he knows people.
No idea who that is either.
You really don't go in the library very often. You should really try it.
Move along.
So Gil, Quinn. So Quinn.
Oh wow. Okay.
I don't know.
Oh.
Can I use suggestion?
What's that now?
Can I use suggestion on him?
Do you want to be openly casting magic?
I don't know. So much stress.
I mean, there's nothing stopping you.
Oh, I hate that answer, Quinn.
Do you need some time to think about your next course of action here?
I don't. He'll slump his shoulders and walk away. I'll be back in the morning. I hope you're not here.
I agree.
Glad we can agree on something. Unless you want to agree on opening the gates for me.
He's just no longer paying any attention to you.
Oh, fine. Get back in Redneck Gondola.
Okay, so you're moving away from there. Scotty, you have the direction, and you get in your little skiff, head over to the East Isle, and make your way to Mallard's Metalwork.
Okay, is it open?
You do hear
What
hammering.
a question!
You do hear hammering from within inside, and yeah, the door seems to be creaked open.
Okay, so she'll go ahead and head inside cautiously.
So, and now we hear the train, and before the whistle comes, it does sound like repeated hammer strokes. So that's a good thing. So, you entering you enter this blacksmith, and you hear rapid hammering. going in, you are immediately hit with the wall of heat. This is a very active. It's a very active forge area, and you see standing on opposite sides of this very large anvil, made even larger that it is manned by two tiny people with oversized hammers and just repeatedly banging on a piece of metal, flattening it out. They have ashen colored skin, and their hair is this very vibrant, like ginger red. They don't seem to have noticed your entry, but these two individuals, one looks male, one looks female, and they can't be over like 3 feet tall. Standing on boxes with these big hammers, just ping, 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 ping.
That's cute.
Scotty will take a second to just kind of watch them work because she's curious now.
Yeah, it looks like they're hammering out this large sheet of metal from a glowing red ingot.
She'll get as close as she can judge as safe from this work.
Are you sneaking up on them, or are you just kind of walking up?
Just kind of walking. Definitely not sneaking.
That's how you trip into the fire. Oh shit. So you approach, and almost like wild animals, they, it's the most eerie thing because in unison, their heads snap up and face you, but there's still that incessant tinking as their hammers are still going, and they're just staring up at you blankly. It would be a little more alarming, but you have looked into the mirror on occasion. Their eyes are black. Just the whites of their eyes are this where their skin is this kind of this ashen gray, this ashen gray. Their eyes are like just black pits with these little burning red embers for pupils, kind of looking up at you as these two relatively similar looking individuals. You'd have to assume that they were potentially siblings. But yeah, they just kind of, their gaze locks in with you, and their arms are still going, beating out this metal.
She'll stop in alarm. Can I interrupt your work for a second?
The hammering will slowly stop. Their eyes still pretty well locked in on yours.
I'm sorry to intrude. I just wanted to, I have this piece of metal, and she'll kind of take out that of metal and kind of...
We imagine you had like a cloth sack that you were carrying it around with.
Probably. I don't know if this is something you could use as a supply, but I'd be interested to see if I could, maybe sell it to you?
You see they kind of start moving forward. Their motions are jerky, but fluid in a sense. It's really... It's kind of unsettling. Like, they seem graceful in a way, but their movements forward are a little erratic, as they come kind of like in this weird, like almost like one will move forward a couple of steps, the other one will move a couple of steps forward to get it in front of the other, and they just kind of like climb at you that way, or like they jump forward a little bit, and until they're both standing at, you know, about a 1.5 foot distance, just kind of like clamoring to see what's in the bag.
She'll kind of hold it out to them, so it's more on their level.
So you hold down this ingot of holy crap money fused together. Do we still have a count on that?
Of course not.
No.
Okay.
Oh, you have melted together coin in your inventory.
Yes. Well,
I don't know how much that was supposed to be. Do you have offhand how much you had, or roughly?
it wasn't a whole lot. I doubt it was more than gold, a few copper and silver pieces, and I don't know if she had any platinum.
No, I don't think you had platinum. I think it was like, I think you had like around 100 gold or so. Sounds about right.
I don't think she had that much.
I'll call it probably 50 then.
Okay.
Just out of the whatever it might be. So you hold it down to them, and they start make this sound that reminds you of crackling. And and as they're kind of speaking to one another, you feel the waves of heat coming off of these two.
That's uncomfortable.
Yeah. As they kind of snatch the chunk from you. And granted, if it's like 50 coins, this chunk is actually the size of a small ball. Because, I mean, 50, you're thinking like, it's less than 100 coins.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, I mean, it's like 100 quarters, essentially, all melted together.
Okay.
So, they kind of take this, and it looks, obviously, in their hands, it looks bigger. And you see them just kind of fidgeting over it, and just kind of make these crackling noises back and forth to one another before, the more male-looking one. They're both kind of along the same lines, but you can suss out that one of them's, a male. Just kind of looks up and just, "You want to sell?"
Yeah, that probably be the idea.
Oh. No. 20 coin.
How much?
20 coin. Kind of taps a finger onto the larger, like, gold-looking blob in there. Something you notice that their hand kind of, that finger kind of presses into the metal, where it seems like it's started to soften in their grip.
I believe that possibly 30 would be more fair.
Roll persuasion.
Great. Scotty trying to persuade.
I think through persuasion.
The guy had a job to do, working for a wizard.
Yeah, well, you know what? He's a lesbian now, okay?
What, Roro?
No. What? The guard.
Scotty using her awkward charm.
Hi.
Mm. Bitcoin. You see the girl kind of walk over, just shove the sheet of metal off the anvil, and it goes down with a raucous clank. Before she just kind of plops it down on there and just starts, like, staring into this lump's soul, essentially. Just eyes locked with that. And you can swear you see that the metal starts taking on this almost liquid-like glisten.
What exactly is she doing?
Make it good. Make it use.
Oh, you're gonna turn it back into coin.
As you see the more male one go towards a counter and seem to put on these very thick, like, smithing gloves and go rooting around in a bag and kind of hold up to you in these comically oversized, very thick leather gloves a handful of coins. And a quick check on you that there is, in fact, 30 of them there.
Okay. Then
Yes. And the small one honks at you, apparently.
Lovely.
Did you coin?
He's really angry.
how much time has it been, Quinn?
You came right here, so maybe about 10, 15 minutes dealing with these two.
Okay, so Scotty will take the coin and put it in a makeshift cloth bag.
Yeah, essentially you've got like it's basically it's a sackcloth grocery bag is essentially what you've got. It was just something that they had on the ship that you could carry that thing around in.
Sounds about right.
Hey, but at least you got a reusable bag.
So she'll take her leave since she's finding the heat extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah. The lump is literally melting under the gaze of whatever this is.
Terrifying. Since not too much time has passed, can Scotty head to the temple?
All right. You're starting to work your way over there. Roro, turned away at the lighthouse. You are going where?
I'm turning around and going back towards the lighthouse.
Oh, great. It's you again.
Oh. I thought
You see there's a couple of guys there now.
Oh!
There's the guy that you were dealing with, a human man, just kind of, nondescript, blonde hair, not blonde hair, but brown hair. He's got a little bit of like a 5 o'clock shadow going on, wearing like chain armor, wielding having a halberd next to him. And on the other side of the gate now, you see that there's another likewise dressed guard, and you can spot one that's on patrol on the interior.
Roro will fearlessly approach this group. Oh my god. Hello, everybody. Except for you.
They don't seem to be paying you much attention. Or at least not acknowledging your presence.
Is one of you the wizard of this library?
You get no response.
I am far too beautiful to be ignored like this. Hello?
They're Buckingham Palacing you. I mean, the one on either side of the gate, you see a guy on patrol elsewhere who's not directly paying attention to you, but he's patrolling the grounds. The two that are at the gate, not paying you any attention.
Now, is this like a really large gate? And they stand, like, is there any room around them to get to the gate?
The gate splits down the middle, and there's in total it's about 8 feet long, and it splits on the middle. So it looks like it opens from the middle, and the two guards are on the middle sections of them.
I'm going to casually kind of walk around them towards the other part that they're not at.
Well, there is a wall. The wall is about 7 feet tall, made out of basically shorn brick or hewn brick.
And they're just going to ignore me. This is fine. Maybe they'll ignore my way in.
Maybe. Or maybe the guy who's actively patrolling the grounds will have something to say.
Maybe he'll be nicer than the first guy.
Oh, sure. You'll only officially be trespassing at that point. I'm sure he'll be fine with it.
This is a state of emergency.
Roro's internal monologue.
No, I'm saying it out loud. Towards the guards.
They don't seem to pay you attention.
Oh my god.
They're just not acknowledging you.
Can he try the gate?
Are you gonna rush the gate?
What?
Try the gate how?
Like, just see if it opens?
Well, from the cursory glance you got, it opens in the middle. Because you can kind of see the hinges on either side, like on the far ends of where the hewn stone ends and the wrought iron begins. And by all looks, it swings insofar that it would open from the middle.
Ro's gonna take a walk around the building to see if it's opened in any other area.
This seems to be the only entrance, or the only gate. And it is the one facing this all the way. So it's kind of facing a little bit of a greenery. So.
Ro's gonna sigh heavily and just walk away. I will be back in the morning, and I hope none of you are here.
Wow. Okay.
So they could hear me this whole time. Rude.
No, that's me. He just. Oh my god! All the attitude. Okay, so where you were walking away. Where are you off to next?
I will go to the general store.
Okay. So, you will go to the general store and you see Gil there, kind of looking around.
Gil, I just dealt with the rudest people. I want to leave.
It's like icy fingers up my spine. Hello, Roro. What have you done this time?
I didn't do anything. Blank disrespect from them.
From them. Should there be a thunderbolt at the end of that? Because it sounds kind of ominous.
I mean, they were kind of ominous. I mean, they weren't very pretty.
What's your definition of ominous?
Many things. Why?
Okay, so you're here bothering me for a reason. What? What's up?
What? Oh. You lost me completely. I wonder if they took lessons from you and being disrespectful and rude. I'm gonna go find Scotty.
Disrespectful and rude how?
Like that. Goodbye.
Were you dropped on your head as a kid?
I don't know. My parents didn't hold me. Turns away and walks.
Well, I got sad all of a sudden. He'll turn back and go do his shopping. Okay, so Scotty, you are making your way to the sea shrine.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is it about Jack Jack?
No. I'm guessing, based reading off this cantrip, that I couldn't use message to send a bot to Gil.
You would have to be within 100 feet, 120 feet of Gil.
Okay. I'm assuming that that is further away than where she's at.
Quite a bit.
And I'd like to add that she only added Roro because they gave her a look.
Scotty doesn't to Roro. Unless she
know.
has to.
Everyone needs a Roro.
It's because Roro's got a silver spoon shoved up his ass.
Well, why don't you take it out and eat from it?
No.
No.
Okay. Question answered. So, yeah, she's headed to the shrine. Does she find it open?
It's less of a building as it seems to be kind of a how do I want to put it's kind of like this open park area. I'm trying to think as a lot of the ground around here is like a compacted dirt, like a natural floor, but has been tramped down to kind of be this natural floor.
Well,
This area has carefully hewn bricks, cobblestone essentially, in this small park. And by park, it's just like this open area, which is perimetered by a semicircle of standing stones that have a series of carvings in them. And from these standing stones comes this pattern through the cobblestones, these shallow essentially water ducts that extend from little pools just before the stones and intertwine in a pattern that comes to a central basin that stands maybe about 10 feet around, which is this has this small pool and a pedestal in the center of it, which has this stone bust of this elven woman with kind of long flowing hair, and holding out this blue that has this blue crystal in hands stretched out beforehand. Her head is tipped down as if contemplating this gemstone.
Are there any people around?
You see a scattering. A couple of sailor looking people just kind of come walking up. They've kind of paid their respects to this icon and then kind of move on. And when I say these little ducts, they are probably like in, yeah, no, not quite. They're about like in these grooves. It's more like these grooves. They're about like an inch, maybe an inch and a half wide, and they just kind of flow in through these cobblestones, creating some kind of geometric pattern that all seems to line up to this one statue. That kind of, you hear those slight ripples of moving water when you're in this area. And something strikes you also is that as you were moving through Alcrin here, this is very much a port town. It's that seawater, kind of that salt air smell. Moving into this space, it smells like fresh rain.
And does Scotty recognize or understand me from Grace?
Try that again.
Can Scotty understand anything from the engravings?
What languages?
Let me look. Sorry. The
Draconic and
Sylvan?
No, you do not Well, these carvings seem to be more like geometric patterns and symbols rather than a language that you can, because there doesn't seem to be like a flow to them. They're more like runes. Give me an intelligence check. Pretty consistent tonight, aren't you?
I suppose so. Sure how to take it.
Like a man.
What?
That's just my default response. There's kind of they look kind of familiar to you, but in a weird, they kind of in a sense resemble like Halderai runes, but they're not quite right. It seems like they're close in like design, but they have a different culture. Kind of like how I'm trying to think more specifics, but how, oh god, what is even the list of languages here?
You might remember if you give Roro something.
Well, I don't know if Roro finds Scotty. Where are you looking, by the way?
Everywhere.
Everywhere. Give me investigation.
Now you want me to roll?
Now I want you to roll investigation.
Oh.
Look, sometimes I'll call for rolls, sometimes I won't. It kind of depends on a bit of your actions. So, 5. Okay. So, you're going to be looking for a little bit.
I hate everything.
This happens every time you look for Scotty.
I know.
I noticed that. Somehow I don't think you really want to find Scotty. You just want to find someone to listen to you.
I really do. Is that so much to ask? No one loves Roro.
Okay, so these runes are essentially, it's like we'll get to you. I'm not saying you're not gonna find her. It's just gonna take a little bit.
3 days have passed. Roro is on the ground.
Starving. He's a very unhappy sim right now. Yes, just like Chat is saying here, who caught on beforehand. It's like the differences between Elvish and Sylvan or Dwarvish and Gnome. Things that share kind of a cultural heritage, but is like split off from each other. These markings seem kind of Haldiri-ish from what you've gathered, but they don't seem quite.
Okay.
It's almost like if taken for example, like how Gil's tattoos are. The symbols on there are more angular. Well, the patterns on like his forearm and his shoulder are more like hard lines, where these are more soft and curved, and they kind of flow in different. But it is a very peaceful area. Go on, Roro. What are you saying?
It doesn't look like anybody around that could explain to her anything about this or answer questions.
There doesn't seem to be like any official person hanging about. It seems to be more of like a very well kept shrine, like, but with nobody in charge of it that you can see.
Okay. Hard for her to get her question answered.
I know something about that. With more attitude, really.
5 minutes later, you even with a roll of 5, to asking around for a very raven hair, a very pale lady with raven hair, horns and scales, is not openly walking around town is not a terribly common thing. So you are well directed to there, and you'll find Scotty kind of considering this shrine.
Thank you for helping me find my dragon. His response to everyone who pointed him in the right direction.
Okay.
I'm approaching Scotty, right?
Yeah, you are now at the shrine where Scotty is.
Scotty.
What, Roro?
Everyone in this town is mean, including Gil, because he's in this town.
Would that mean that I'm mean?
Are you? Are you going to be mean to me too?
What do you want, Roro?
For someone to love me?
I'm not exactly sure where you're trying to get with that.
I don't either.
Flex his claws.
His claws. You know, my questions about my orb.
Really? The wizard was that unwilling?
The wizard never even spoke to me. The guards were like, "Now, come back in the morning."
Guess we can't help it if they're closed.
Maybe if you go with me, they'll listen.
Well, why would anybody listen?
You have horns.
How does that anything?
You put the fear in their hearts.
You're saying I'm scary looking.
In the best way possible.
Oh. She'll just sigh and roll her eyes. Well, Gil did say there was an apothecary shop. I mean, it's likely that a wizard could work there. You could try there for your order, like.
Let's go. Will you skip with me?
Not even.
Oh. I'll let it slide this time.
Let's just hurry so that we can get back to the tavern before it's burned.
I'm not worried about Gil.
Oh, I'm not worried about him either. He clearly thinks everything. Saying that he's at a shop.
Oh no. There we have Sal, Gilfish, Fang.
Scotty will roll her eyes and begin walking. If he follows, he follows.
I follow.
So you're headed to the apothecary.
Yes.
Okay. So you make your way over there, and you
You what?
my brain just hiccuped. All right. You come to this area, and it's a small-ish building with a lot of oddly enough a lot of open area around it, and it looks like there might have been buildings around this one at some point, but for whatever reason, there's this one rather sturdy looking building, but fairly small, kind of out of place with the others, just in the middle of this dirt courtyard. And you see sprigs of a lot of exotic looking plants.
Mm-hmm.
The dirt is the smell of the smell of turned soil is apparent to you as you're walking up, and just this cacophony of smells. Just you there's sprigs of, like, there's mints, there's sandalwoods, there's all kinds of, like, it's kind of a mess. Just, you know, as far as smells, like, there's exotic looking flowers, and it kind of looks pretty, but kind of haphazardly planted about in these large clay urns scattered around. But there is house in the middle of all this mess.
Can I take it that maybe Scotty kind of gets, I guess, a sense of home from these smells? Or are they just, like, that much different than what her master was using?
Your master was very orderly.
Yes.
There was a plot of land that was his, that he basically had a greenhouse outside of the bounds of his, you know, it was basically, you know, down the street a little bit, where he grew his things, bottled them, and brought them back for his work.
Not anymore.
Wow.
Way to hurt Scotty's heart.
Wow. Just Roro. Look, being salty is one thing. That is that is almost unnecessary. Shit, man.
Out of character.
I know it was out of character. I'm referring to the Roro that is you. Holy fuck.
Okay, so is this place seeming to be open for visitors?
There are definitely lights on,
Is there now?
and this smoke rising. Look, it's not my fault that you went to the one place that's really busy at night.
Sure.
Okay,
It's
so
a lighthouse. Who do you? What time of day do you think they work? Just saying.
Interesting. So, is the door open or is it closed?
The door is closed.
Okay, so Scotty will knock on the door.
There will be just a moment before the door will open, and standing there is this kind of tall, lanky man, probably close to, if not just around 6 foot tall. Kind of got this pencil-like, kind of like this pencil mustache. Seems wearing this velvet robe and kind of has this wild, this slightly wild, like frizzed at their black hair that is kind of stretched. It looks like it's tied back, but some of it is kind of coming a little loose at the sides. You know, it seems like he's kind of got a large forehead and this slightly wild but look in his eyes. But as soon as he opens the door, there's this smile that just kind of creeps across his face. Just, hello. What can I do for you?
Hello, I'm sorry to. My friend here has something of interest he'd like to get looked at.
I do. Roro.
Oh, welcome to my abode. Would you like to come in for a drink?
Sure.
That's fantastic. Please, come inside. He'll step aside and just kind of, if graciously, if not slightly over dramatically, just kind of sweeps his hand and gives a small bow of his head as he kind of clears the way for you to come into his house, shop. This is where a bit of the nostalgia hits you. As much as the outside is kind of this cacophony, like I said, of smells and just clashing and just intermixing, in here is, you smell, for better or for worse currently, you know, that rustic fireplace smell, as there's a fire burning in a fireplace. You see off to one corner of this large room. It just kind of opens up into this circular space. You see a couple of couches, a sitting table, you know, towards the middle there, a coffee table. But off to the side, you see some very, very familiar looking instruments. And it kind of gives you that little bit of a nostalgia pit. And he's like, there's definitely an alchemist station set up here.
Scotty will kind of stare almost longingly at the alchemy tool and just that sense of familiarity.
Yeah, it looks like there's a small focused flame burning, and it is bubbling some clear liquid currently. As the two of you enter in, you know, he'll shut the door behind you. It's not often that I have visitors this late at night. Please, I would love to offer you a drink. I've got some very fine wine. If you would care for it.
I like water.
Thank you for your hospitality, but I wouldn't there at all.
The last time Roro drank was someone offered it. It did not end well. I mean, at least he seems to be a lot hotter than Switcher.
He's not a pirate, I'll give it that. So you both ask for water. Okay.
Sure.
Well, all right then. That's fine. He'll go and get a couple of. He'll get this large silver pitcher, and then he'll pour a pair of glasses of water. They. He basically pours it into wine flutes, but just, I apologize. I don't have much in the way of, well, glassware tends to be at a premium around here. He'll hand you the wine flutes filled with water.
Like fancy.
Well, he'll go and sit. He'll go and sit down on one of the couches. As there's a couch, a coffee table, and a couch sitting opposite. He'll sit on one side of it and just motion for you to sit down.
Roro pulls out his orb from his bag. I found it.
Well, that looks kind of fancy.
It is very fancy.
Wonder what kind of crystal that might be.
Would you know?
I would have to take some time and test it.
Oh, it is really...
I did not hear any of what you just said.
Oh, I just said promise to be careful because it's...
Well, can I look at it? Let's kind of hold his hand out.
Roro will gently place it in his hand and then sit next to Scotty.
And just kind of take a moment and look it over. Well, this is pretty interesting. Oh god, I gotta check something real quick. So yeah, it seems like he's absorbed for a few minutes just looking at this thing. What are you up to?
While he's studying the orb,
Yeah.
Staring at-
Scotty's just kind of taking in his setup. Any books she may see, just kind of trying to collect exactly what he does here. Well, out me clearly, but like what kind of line about me he's doing.
You know what? Give me investigation.
In that turn, Roro's just watching his crystal very closely.
As I would have expected.
Quinn, did you get my roll? Because Kevin did.
I see your roll now. It looks like, I don't know if you did a second one or not, but I only see one, which is a 25. So, hooray for that. I am double checking something real quick. Okay, that's good to know. Okay, so you're looking around here. I mean, this seems it's alchemy. Currently, you're not entirely sure what he's brewing here, but he is currently brewing. He's reducing some liquid, and it has no real aroma that you can detect. I mean, are you getting up to looking at it, or?
You know what? She's a curious person. Let's say yes, but
Okay.
she's trying to keep a respectful distance as much as she can.
Okay. Well, it's fine. This individual is very much entranced in this blue gem. Uh, yeah. There's something reducing here, and the bubbling liquid seems to be slightly viscous from what you're gathering, just by how the bubbles are forming. It doesn't look like it's a watery substance. It's definitely thicker than that. Almost like a honey kind of consistency. You do see an open book on the table, as well as some implements that you're not entirely sure what they are.
Okay.
It looks just like pieces of metal that look kind of intricate. Like some of them put together. A couple of gears.
She'd be interested in taking a closer look at the book.
It. What were the languages that you know again?
Sylvan and Draconic.
You do not understand what this is.
Okay.
It's written in a very kind of a blocky looking script. If I am thinking of this properly, which I would imagine I am. But yeah, it's some kind of blocky script, and you see a couple of plants that you're not too terribly familiar with. Mainly just by the look of it, they are. They definitely seem to be more temperate plants than you're used to seeing.
Okay.
Although you do see a couple of sprigs of acacia sitting in a small beaker off to the side, and you know acacia to being a common an herb that is almost universal, and it has medicinal properties to it. You've used a lot of it when you were brewing healing potions, for example.
Okay.
Watching him closely. He will not defile my order.
Yeah, it's a good 10 minutes of him just kind of going over this sphere, this rough cut stone that it was. Well, I'm sorry to say, but it looks kind of broken.
It is not. Jump up to see.
I'm sorry, but it is. It certainly seems to me like it was magical at one point, or maybe even still kind of is, but whatever it is, it's broken.
Do you think maybe if we just shake it a little bit, the magic will come back?
I would think you might want to. Look, if you see these grooves here, it looks like it was supposed to set in something.
Set in something like a handle?
Or like a claw or something. He kind of makes makes like a grasping hand kind of thing. Like something that would sit in kind of like a palm. But yeah, maybe, I guess. Kind of takes another swig of his. You see that he's actually drinking from a beaker.
Whoa. Roro will take out the handle that Scotty refers to from his bag and hand it over. Kind of like this?
Yeah, that kind of looks like it. Yeah, what you keep calling a handle was kind of this gnarled tree root looking thing that had the roots kind of like up and grasping. So yeah, it's kind of he'll take that out of your hand and kind of take that grapefruit sized blue crystal and just kind of put it in. You like set it on there. It's like, yeah, it looks like these two pieces would fit. Well, he kind of, he's got the crystal orb in one hand and the root in another, and he's just kind of looking it over, and just kind of seems to go off and starts staring it down again. And he'll be at that for another 10 minutes. Unless you guys are doing anything else in that time.
Roro doesn't blink once.
Scotty's still just taking in the shop, more so for familiarity's sake and less for investigation, seeing as she can't understand his shorthand.
It's not even so much shorthand, it's clearly written in a language you don't get.
Yeah, I got that. I'm just much the same, though.
Essentially. Yeah, as you kind of just looking over that nostalgically. You know what? Go ahead and give me a check on your alchemy.
Okay.
Me too.
You're not trained in alchemy.
I know.
So no. You're too busy staring down this individual.
You know, is he at least hot enough to be staring down?
I mean, he's a little off. Like there's a kind of a little bit of a wild look in him, and by wild I mean like there might be a hint of madness behind his eyes, or it's just mirthfulness. Whether or not he's attractive in your eyes is another thing, but he seems to be well put together. He's got, velvet robes on. They're like he's got a crushed velvet robe that's kind of this slightly, like burgundy purplish kind of color that's nicely trimmed in silk. He's very well put together, and or at least he likes staying comfortable. Scotty, you...
Yes, I was wondering, that's the alchemist kit?
Yeah.
Tool?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. It's almost like you prime-statted intelligence. It's weird.
It's weird.
It's weird. What wizard would do that? So, just kind of going over this, like, huh. You may not be able to understand the notes, but just kind of taking in what this is going on. It's kind of coming back to you, like riding a bike. Even though it's been a while since you've dealt with any supplies, I guess. It seems like whatever's in this beaker is some kind of adhesive.
Okay.
And not just a casual, like, it's not like he's making glue. This stuff is serious.
Touch it. poke it.
Yeah, she's going to be careful not to touch anything.
But yeah, it seems like whatever he's making, seems to be a definite adhesive substance. And the flame is currently keeping it at a point so it won't set.
Are we interrupting your work, by the way?
No.
He'll break away from
No.
from his
No.
look, and kind of glance up at you, and
No.
jeez, Roro's panicking.
No.
He just kind of gives his smile brightens. Is like, no, of course not, Mademoiselle. These things, they take time. It's a lot of downtime here. It lets me pursue other passions.
Not what the lighthouse guards say. Barely.
Other passions outside of
Say that again?
other passions outside of alchemy?
Oh. You gotta diversify a little bit. I mean, I do dabble a little bit in the gnomish arts.
Oh, the gears up here. You
Yes. I've occasionally get some bits and bobbles coming through here from Yakir. The gnomes there, they're an industrious sort. It's fascinating.
Backs away.
True. I suppose my master was very focused in this direction. We didn't see much of anything outside of our alpha studies.
Master, you say? Pray tell, who was this master of yours?
I don't know if you could have heard of him. I'm not from around these parts.
Well, that's fine, neither am I.
Really? Well, my master's name was Iro.
Hero. I mean, I've met quite a few people in my life. I'm not entire. That does maybe sound a little familiar, but it's not jumping to mind, unfortunately.
Oh, that's fine. I was just making a pass. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, it's perfectly fine. I was pretty well. These pieces go together, clearly, but some link between them is missing. It's an item broken.
So, is it a magical link, or would it be another item that would connect them?
Well, it seems like there's an unnatural break here at the bottom. He'll kind of, turn the handle over away from the clawed section, where, I mean, it's gnarled roots, but you can kind of see like there could have been like a snap that happened. Like this handle could have been longer by some degree.
Scotty,
Yes, Roro.
we're going back to Cobalt Island and finding the missing link. The desert can wait.
Back there, we spent enough time there.
Not about wants, it's about need.
Well, I'm sure if you talk, it would take you, but no.
Cobalt Island? What are you going about?
It's a place. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of cute bunnies there, but we didn't see any. But there's like a lot of kobolds in the cave, and they melted my clothes off. That's where we found the
Oh
missing link.
my, how exciting that must have been.
The clothes melting, or what?
The whole adventure, really.
Oh,
It was long. So, these two things, they're not going to go back together.
Well, I mean, I could put them back together,
oh,
but it's not like it's whole.
Like,
You know,
there's a-
funny thing you mention. Did you know ancient kobolds? It was told that it's funny stories, really, about the gnomes. Some say that they got a lot of their ideas from an ancient breed of kobold.
uh-huh.
so I should find a gnome.
I mean, I don't know how much you could put into those stories, really.
Point me to the closest gnome.
I don't know of any personally, but there was talk of a society of kobolds that were just as advanced as any gnome.
Seem all that advanced to be on the island. So, with a piece, even if you put it together, it would do anything of consequence?
I mean, it depends on. It depends on what you. How much time and money you want to put into this. I
How
could
much do you
probably.
want?
I could probably put some of it back together for you and give it some kind of use. But it's not gonna be. It's not gonna be what it once was.
Then what was it once?
I would have. The best I can say is probably it was a staff of frost.
A staff of frost.
Yeah, a spell staff. I don't know how much you know about the ways of magic.
How much do I know about the ways of magic? How much?
How much do you know?
I
Check
don't
your-
know anything.
Check. Are you proficient in Arcana?
Fuck you, Quentin.
He has a 0.
You're not trained in Arcana. Scotty, if you are trained in Arcana, you can make a roll.
I could what?
If you are proficient in on the Arcana skill, you can make a roll.
Okay.
Can I make a roll anyway?
You're not trained for it.
You know.
But you know what? You are a bard. Go for it. But it'll be a disadvantage.
You can roll, but it'll be a disadvantage.
Oh my god.
He has got the he's got a little bit of the crazy eyes, but they are such a deep, beautiful blue, and they just sparkle in the firelight. This guy's he's really charming in a quirky way. And he just invited you in here, and he's been treating you very friendly and hospitably. I mean, this is definitely the nicest guy who's been a native here.
I will stay, and I will be his student, because he loves me.
Calm down.
So, Arcana 23, yes. So, a staff of frost. Essentially, it contains within it the ability to cast certain spells. I can't remember if you guys had items that had charges before,
No.
or if any of
I
you had
read
this.
about them.
Yeah, I know you read about them, but I'm just trying. For some reason, I thought, no, that was the other game. Never mind. But essentially, you can use the energy. Once you make a connection with this item, you are able to use its latent power to call forth certain spells. That being Cone of Cold, Fog Cloud, Ice Storm, or Wall of Ice.
Cool.
But, you know, if you use it too frequently or too much of its power, it has the potential to just melt away.
And
That's rude.
is there a way we can use it consistently without that happening?
Sparing use is basically if you overtax this item before the energies kind of well up. Normally, it's the crystal is ice, essentially magically enchanted and held together. And if all the energy is expended, the ice would melt away, leaving the staff completely inert.
Mister, I forgot your name.
Oh, how rude of me. I never introduced myself. My name is Johann Magnata. Might I have your names?
I am Roro Kelro. You're welcome.
A pleasure, Roro, and you, mademoiselle.
Scotty?
I want to stay here. He's nice.
Well, I'm sure if you decided to stay, I could put you to some use.
Like, I can help?
I mean, assistants are rather hard to come by. On occasion, some can't take the heat, if you know what I mean.
I think I know what you mean.
Speaking of, are you sure you don't want anything better to drink? I have this very fine wine.
I am sure it is the finest. Now, I was actually wondering, how long would it take for you to be able to put this together? Because I think it's really important that we have this stuff.
Well, I mean, the best case is that we have all the pieces. There's at least, clearly, one more.
You know what? Could I tell others, see if they picked up anything? May not have been the.
That's a good idea.
Perhaps would it be alright if we came back to discuss this further? We do have other teammates we'll be considerate of.
I mean, if you want to talk with your friends about it, that's fine. I could always hold on to this for you.
Nope.
And start working on it what little I could. I mean, for a small price, of course.
How much are you thinking?
Well, this is quite a fanciful item. If I recall correctly, and totally not just looking it up myself right now.
Is that why we hear page flipping?
Shh! You hear nothing!
I mean, that's not a lot in some cases.
I mean, normally, getting an object of this magnitude would cost anywhere up to 50,000 for an item of this level of power.
Is there a but?
Repairing an item can be a little cheaper, but then you kind of have to fix the enchantments around it. It's not exactly an easy process. Though, I do have to admit, I do have this talent. I'm a little bit of a savant.
Well, what would it help to reduce the price at all if I could go around the shop for you?
I mean, maybe. It would have to see what talents you have, my dear.
Roro's gonna raise his hand.
He'll kind of smile back over at you. He'll acknowledge you to speak.
I've been ignored.
Yep.
Scotty's very smart and I can.
You are breaking up like hell, man.
Scotty's really smart and talented, but I can help too.
Oh, what are your skills?
I can sing modern day songs. And I'm really good at inventory. And then I'm pretty.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to say no, that your talents aren't something, but to the process of fixing this, I mean, having a pretty face around certainly wouldn't hurt morale.
I know. It's what I've been trying to tell everyone else.
I mean, if you want to stick around for that, I'm sure we can make an arrangement.
Scotty, what do you say?
I really appreciate your generosity, but as I said, we do have other members. I'd like to go back, and I'd like to bring the item back to you when we sit with them and have it.
Of course, we can certainly do something of an exchange once you have all the pieces. I would be glad to offer my services to you two fine and lovely folks.
We truly appreciate that, and it would be nice to be able in a shop. But tonight I think we'll be on our way and let you back to your work. But we'll try to make it back tomorrow to reach time.
What kind of time works for you?
I keep odd hours. I would not be... Well, let's be honest. I would not mind being woken up by two lovely creatures such as yourselves. So you just come knocking whenever you like. I'll be up here for you.
He is so nice.
Scotty is so purple. And inching towards the door.
I am so glad we don't have to talk to that gross old wizard.
Calm down, Rose. Gather your things. Come on, Gil is waiting for us.
Okay.
Again, thank you so much for your time.
Gather the things. I know how important it is to tell you that. Scotty did not grab her bag.
Wow. You're just trying to cut deep, aren't you? You're trying to be hurtful now.
Yeah, that's true.
It's okay, I only cry myself to sleep every night. It's fine.
You're fine.
So,
Bye, Mr. Nice Guy that I've already forgotten the name of again.
Me too. Actually, when could we get that again so I can put it in my notes?
yes, his name is Johann, Johhann, Magnata, Magnata.
Thank you.
I've already brought it.
Johan? Is that what we...
Johann Magnata.
Sounds
Okay.
kind of like a rapper.
Johan?
But you like break it down like a beat.
You don't know. You don't know his skills.
Maybe I do.
Okay, then what are his skills?
Rapping. Us.
It seems to me that his skills are in alchemy and enchantment.
Well, it was a pleasure to meet you. Feel free to come back to my abode anytime.
It was a pleasure to meet you as well. You've been more helpful than anyone else.
I do my
Thank you
best.
Thank you so much for inviting us.
Of course. We'll see you tomorrow.
And Scotty will lead the way out.
As
Okay.
will follow. Quickly and closely.
You leave the Sluice Apothecary.
And we are headed to the tavern to meet with Gil. Assuming that kind of on time?
It's probably getting close. So
I don't have to go see it again. Or those guards, they were rude, Scotty.
I'm sorry they were...
I think you should go have a word with them.
I actually might... There's a question.
For the guards?
No. Library.
So you'll talk to the guards but they were...
She will just give
she'll give Rora what?
a look.
A look. The look. All the looks.
All the looks.
Apparently. So, you go back to the tavern. And a little while later, you'll see Gil kind of come in through the door. I'm guessing you're waiting downstairs for him. Or are you
Yes.
back up at your rooms?
No,
Downstairs.
we're waiting downstairs.
Downstairs. Okay, well. Gil's got a backpack over his shoulder. And it looks like he's gotten some supplies. The bag, his satchel looks like it's got some stuff in it again. The backpack looks like it's got, traveling gear. Well, I'm broke, but I think we'll make it a ways.
Well, I actually came back with...
You're cutting out.
I actually came back with more money.
You find a place to gamble. Scotty, you should have called me first.
You've got to have the worst poker face on the planet, Roro.
Oh, Roro, what?
I mean, let's face facts. You both probably have terrible poker faces.
I don't gamble.
Scotty gets an ace blushes.
Yeah. I only normally gamble with my life, so slightly better odds. Well, I'm glad you got some of your money back. Dare I ask what you did, Roro?
Dare you ask what?
Dare I ask what you did?
I went to the library. They were rude. I went and found you. You were rude. And then we found a very nice gentleman at the apothecary shop. The nicest gentleman.
Kind of glances over at Scotty for confirmation.
She's blushed. He was...
If you said anything, we didn't hear it.
I said she's blushed. Um, he was hospitable.
Well, at least there was that.
But he did examine those and found in the cave.
Oh yeah, what was up with those?
It is a Ross.
Well, that sounds fancy.
It is fancy. That's why I kept it.
It seems to be broken into more. We have 2 of them, but do you know if anybody else picked up anything?
Well, I know that Tallow got some wood, but that was pretty much what they were after.
So they didn't mention picking up any odd that might look like that. Or
I'll be honest, I forgot that thing even existed.
alright.
But maybe there's another cave on there. We found those underground.
No.
You're not just.
What did you say? It's starting to cut out really bad.
I hope you're suggesting that we don't go back.
I mean, what are we gonna do after this? Do we have any plans?
Well, I went to the shrine, but it doesn't. It didn't really answer any questions. I wasn't sure what I was doing, and I don't think that this water deity here is looking for, seeing as the visions really were fire.
Yeah. Let me check something real quick here. Yeah, go in base skills. Good job. Good job, Gil. Just yeah, well, all I know is that my water god is not exactly well known outside of the grasp.
Well, unless your water deity is a elder.
Well, half right, I guess. I've heard he appears as an elf. The Great Cloak of Scales.
Really?
Yeah, torn from a leviathan. So the old tales go.
Well, I perfect fit with that. We do.
I'm catching like every fourth word there.
I said. I didn't get any clarification at shrine, but perhaps you could help me with that. But we did find out from the alchemist that the staff could get back together, even if missing pieces just might take time and money. I'm not sure if we're in agreement if that's something we should pursue.
Well, I mean, something magic wouldn't be a terrible thing.
Alright, well, then perhaps tomorrow we can go back and further discuss with him what kind of deal we could make out. I think that perhaps I worked under him for a bit. Maybe we could get it at a reasonable price.
I mean, we can always check it out. That's fine.
Maybe we should try going to the wizard first and see if maybe he has something that would replace that object for us.
It's another option.
I think that's a pretty good idea. So we can do those 2 stops in the morning.
Yeah, that's fine. Make an early night of it.
Probably the best idea. I think we've done everything we can for today.
Well, sounds good. We'll catch our rest and meet back down here. Why not? We'll let ourselves sleep in, I guess.
We get to sleep in?
Yeah, well, it's not like we've got chores to do right now. Why not? I think we deserve a long morning.
I mean, we could get up early and do some training. That would be fun.
If that's what you want to do.
I'll see you at the crackle.
I'll be sure to wake you up.
That's rude. As long as it's nicely.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Good night,
All right.
Gil.
Good night, Roro. And that will be a pretty decent place to hang it up for the night, I think. This is your first evening in Alcarin.
Alcarin. That guy was so nice. Guards rude.
The guards who are only doing their job.
Of being rude heads.
I'm sorry. No one just immediately bends to your whim. Anyway,
I am a royal.
they don't know you. You're you may be a Doreen noble,
So
but
I am noble.
you're a noble. You're not royalty, but you're a noble of the Doreen Valley, which is a secluded spot on a continent across the ocean.
Well, they should open their ears and listen.
There's an amount of irony there that I'm not going to touch on. Anyway.
And can I just point out that it's probably a good thing that you weren't recognized? That nobody knows what's going on in the Dream Valley here? It's safer?
That is a pretty decent point.
Shut up.
I'm just saying,
Both y'all.
you're kind of a wanted man where you're from. The less people know of you, maybe the less people hear your name is probably the better. But you know, what do I know? I just sell shrimp down by the river.
Yes, please.
Anyway, thank you very much for joining me this evening, Fluffy and and Jasper out in the chat. Good job. Thank you for showing up as well. I will be back tomorrow, 2:00 Eastern-ish, around. We're going to be finishing up Desgaia and seeing what else insanity I get up into. So until then, take care of yourselves. Have a good one.